This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. As the days get shorter and colder, it can really take a toll on how we feel. Maybe that means calling your grandma, writing a letter to your friend, finally grabbing lunch with someone you haven't seen in a while. And just like reaching out to a friend, starting therapy can take a bit of courage. BetterHelp makes it easy to start therapy. You'll be matched with a licensed therapist based on your needs and preferences so you can focus on your growth and goals. Not happy with your match? You can switch therapists anytime with no hassle. This month, don't wait to reach out, whether that's checking in on a friend or reaching out to a therapist yourself. BetterHelp makes it easier to take that first step. And our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/PFF. That's betterhelp.com/PFF. That was Wisconsin beating number 23 Washington 13-10, really ending any sort of hopes that Washington had of winning or making the college football playoffs. Let's go over the highest grade players, starting off with the Wisconsin Badgers. Their highest grade player was linebacker Cooper Catalano with an 81 PFF grade. Another linebacker here in Mason Posa, 79.6. Edge rusher Mason Reiger, 78.3. Matthew Jung, the safety, 70.5. D tackle Ben Barton, 70.5. And Carter Smith, the quarterback, with only a 43 PFF grade in the win. Let's go over to Washington with their highest grade players in the loss. Wide receiver Denzel Boston, projected first-round pick in this year's draft, 75.3. Rylan Dillard Allen, the safety, 73.1. Tai Uyunglele with a 72.4 grade at D tackle. Ephesians Prysock, the cornerback, 71.1. Zach Durfee, the edge rusher, with a 70 grade. And DeMond Williams Jr. really struggled with a 45.1 grade in the loss. Dalton, what told the story in this just absolutely hideous but a big upset for Wisconsin?
Boy, it was ugly. It was ugly, wasn't it? But you know what? If Wisconsin's going to win, they're going to win ugly. You know, you mentioned Carter Smith, the quarterback there. I think the stat that sums up this game more than anything is that Wisconsin's punter was their leading passer with the one
That's crazy.
With the one fake punt going for 24 yards. 4 different players threw a pass for Wisconsin in this game. Danny O'Neal leaving early with an injury. Hunter Simmons finishing out the first half. Then they went to Carter Smith, and and then the punter is their leading passer. It's in the pouring rain. It's Wisconsin football. But I mean, look, if you want to win a game like this, I think so often something that jumped out to me watching it and going back again was field position. Kind of a big thing, right? If Washington wants to score more than those 10 points they have, they got to earn it. When you look at calculating the average starting field position, Washington, roughly their own 24-yard line. And if you take out the one-yard touchdown drive they had that they got off a block punt, then it would be their own 17. Now, this Wisconsin defense, despite the struggles of their offense and the record, it's still a pretty good unit led there by Luke Fickell, and credit to Fickell as well. He gets a vote of confidence, right, from the AD. He's not getting fired this year. Comes out and gets his first ranked win as Wisconsin's head coach. I mean, that's quite a bounce back from a lot of people calling for his head. And then you get that vote of confidence. You go, okay, there's something. You just won a game with no offense whatsoever. We know Luke Fickell can coach defense. He did it to a T in this game. But Washington's starting almost every time inside their own 25, often inside, especially late in the game. It felt like they were living at their own 8-yard line. Wisconsin, average starting field position, their own 45. Now, they didn't do a whole lot with it. But all 3 of their scoring drives started in Washington territory, right? Forcing turnovers. DeMond Williams with 2 turnovers. Washington 1 for 3 on 4th down. They missed a potential tying field goal in the 4th quarter. This offensively for Washington just turned into 2 things. One, the injuries were killing them. Jonah Coleman, I believe it was only 5 carries for 2 yards, basically didn't play in the second half of this game, so the run game was not there for Washington. Denzel Boston playing through it, banged up a little bit, still playing through it, was their highest graded player. And then it felt like Williams, especially under all of the pressure that he was was getting. I thought the defensive line did an outstanding job controlling this game, especially with their pass rush. Damon Williams under pressure 53% of the time in this game, and you could feel really watching him that he could feel the pressure, and he's trying to do too much. The interception deep in the end zone to Ricardo Hallman, that was a classic case of trying to do way too much. Williams trying to carry this offense and getting out of structure too often under pressure really hurt him, especially in a game in the pouring rain where you would love to have Jonah Coleman and you'd love to be able to run the football, but Wisconsin got to play a Wisconsin football game built on their defense. Luke Fickell comes out with his first ranked win as the Badgers head coach. Credit to him because it's been a tumultuous season.
So the punter who was the leading passer, was he actually the punter, or did they pull a USC?
No, they were out. Wisconsin was out of quarterbacks.
That's
at that
true.
point.
That is true. Yeah.
This was actually their punter. I don't know.
That USC thing was hilarious.
That was pretty awesome. No, this was actually their punter.
By the way, Sam Heward was the fake punter for USC on that one. Sam Heward's a 5-star quarterback like 3 years ago.
No, we play real football in Madison, Wisconsin. We actually let our punters throw the football.
Love that.
That's exactly how that works.
My stat is obviously just Washington negative .284 EPA per play in this one. It was just an all-around hideous football game, or really maybe a beautiful one if you love defensive football, defensive Big Ten football, in the elements, in the rain and also the snow it turned into in Madison, Wisconsin as well. Only 3.2 yards per play combined for both Wisconsin and Washington in this one. It's the worst EPA per play for Washington since they joined the Big Ten. The last time they had an EPA per play worse than this was their win, actually, over Arizona State in 2023 when Michael Penix Jr. was still the quarterback.
Yeah, when it was it like 13-9 or something?
Yeah,
they
it was
scored
an
a
ugly
late
game.
It was like a late defensive touchdown.
It was like 16-9 maybe or something like that.
It was something in there. It was like a late defensive touchdown against in a game that nobody thought would be close. They were probably favored by 30-something. But no, I mean, that I remember that one.
Their year where they made the national title game, that was the last time they had an offensive performance as bad as what they just did last night against Wisconsin. Again, a lot like Wake Forest, it felt like in this one, where Wisconsin, the way they're going to win this ball game is by dragging you into the mud in a defensive game, and they did just that against Washington in this one, even though Washington entered the week with one of the best offenses in America, one of the most efficient offenses in the country, and it was not that at all against Wisconsin. Only a 52.1 offensive grade for the Huskies. It's their second worst all year, only ahead of the Michigan loss a couple weeks ago. Again, just a really great job by Wisconsin's defense of dragging them into the mud, quite literally into the mud in this one. And the Badgers, even though they had also an ugly offensive performance, they could survive and win this game and kill Washington's hopes of making the playoff this year.
It's just such a fun stat. Sean West, their punter, had 24 yards passing. The three quarterbacks that played combined for 24 yards passing. That's so awesing. That's just so like. And you know what? It doesn't.
QB1.
It doesn't.
Give
always,
Sean West some reps back there.
We might have to. Hey, they won a game with him as their leading passer. I mean, it's they're 1-0 when Sean West is their leading passer.
I love that.
I mean, yeah, no, absolutely. But again, it was just Washington. Again, credit to Wisconsin's defense. Just unbelievable effort, man, to come out in what's really been a lost season, and right after Luke Fickell gets that vote of confidence, man, that's really good stuff. That's huge for them.
So obviously, I would imagine your most impressive will not be an offensive player in this one. Who do you want to shout out defensively?
I thought about it for about a millisecond, sure, but just tough to find the offense. 9 of our 10 highest graded players on that board there were all 9 defensive players and Denzel Boston. That's about right.
Yep.
But no, I mean, let's look on the defensive line from Wisconsin. The Louisville transfer. How many pass rushers does Louisville need? They had so many extra that Mason Reiger decided to leave. He was like, man, I need a starring role around here. Well, he found it. 8 pressures and a sack in this game. Moving all around the defensive line. He's a versatile piece. You can put him on stunts. A really good athlete. I think he might be one of those sneaky late round guys that teams start thinking about on that defensive line. He was good at Louisville in a part-time role. He can do a lot of different things up front. 73 run defense grade, also 17 run defense snaps and no negative grades. Mason Reiger was outstanding. The whole Wisconsin pass rush was outstanding, but Reiger was really the face of it to me in this game.
Yeah, I got to shout out the linebackers for Wisconsin. You saw on the screen earlier, the 2 highest graded players overall for Wisconsin were their 2 linebackers, and Cooper Catalano and Mason Posta. They are the best players on the field in this one. Catalano, 74 run defense grade, 4 run defense stops, and a tackle for loss. Also had a 76.5 coverage grade with 2 coverage stops on 4 targets in this one. And then Mason Posa, man, was a demon as a blitzer in this game. 92.2 pass rush grade, 3 sacks, and 4 pressures on only 8 pass rushing snaps for Mason Posa. Also, if that's not enough, he had 2 coverage stops as well in this one. It was a major reason why Washington's offense had their worst performance since they joined the Big Ten a couple years ago.
No, outstanding stuff from the players. And I'll say again, Luke Fickell, I mean, with the blitz packages and the stunts and everything they were putting together to confuse the offensive line and confuse Damon Williams. He really had no idea where to go. Had 67 yards as a scramble, but everything just looked out of sorts. When you look at also the way they played in run defense, 25 design carries for Washington for just 81 yards. I mean, we've talked about it this year. The run game is actually an X factor for this Huskies team. They could not get it going in the design run game. Just an unbelievable game plan put together, an unbelievable defensive game put together by Wisconsin, pulling off a huge upset. And like you mentioned earlier, Washington dead in the water now in the playoff race. Not happening.
And I'll tell you what, man, for Mason Posa, 3 sacks is impressive in its own. But 3 sacks on a quarterback like Damon Williams, who is so hard to tackle, that's pretty impressive
big.
as well.
That is big. When you can find a way to keep Williams in the pocket and make him get vertical and run into you instead of breaking outside towards the hash marks, that's big time.
Yep, in the battle of the 2 W logos in the Big Ten, it was Wisconsin that got the massive W over Washington.